Before we begin, imagine falling for someone you were never supposed to love, and just when you think fate is giving you a second chance, they're the one who destroys it. If you love intense forbidden romance, betrayal, and emotional twists that hit hard, make sure you subscribe right now, because stories like this don't end the way you expect. Paula had always believed that some feelings never truly died, they just hid beneath the surface, waiting for the smallest spark to ignite them again. And for her, that spark had always been Tasio. Years had passed since the last time she had seen him, yet somehow, every memory remained painfully vivid. The way his eyes lingered just a second too long, the way his voice softened only when he spoke to her, and most of all, that kiss. That one forbidden kiss that changed everything and destroyed even more. Back then, it had been a mistake. Or at least, that's what they both agreed to call it. A moment of weakness. A crossing of lines that should have never been crossed. Because Tasio didn't belong to her, he never had. He belonged to someone else, someone too close, someone whose trust Paula could never afford to betray again. And so, without dramatic goodbyes or second chances, they had buried it. Buried the feelings, buried the memory, buried the truth. Or at least, they tried. Years later, life had moved on, but Paula hadn't. Not completely. She had learned how to smile again, how to build a life that looked stable from the outside, but inside, there was always that quiet emptiness, a space shaped exactly like Tasio. She never spoke his name anymore, but sometimes, late at night, she would let herself imagine, what if things had been different? What if they had chosen each other instead of doing the right thing? And then, just when she had almost convinced herself she was over him, he came back. It wasn't supposed to happen like that. No warning, no preparation, just a random afternoon that suddenly turned into the moment her entire world shifted again. She saw him before he saw her, standing there like a ghost from her past made real. Older, yes, maybe a little more guarded, but still unmistakably him. Her heart didn't just skip a beat, it shattered whatever fragile calm she had built over the years. When their eyes finally met, time collapsed. Everything unsaid, everything unfinished, everything buried, it all rushed back at once. And in that moment, Paula realized something terrifying. She had never stopped loving him. Their first conversation was awkward, filled with pauses and careful words, like two people pretending they didn't share a history that could burn everything down if exposed. But beneath the surface, there was tension. Electric, undeniable tension. The kind that doesn't fade with time, it only grows stronger in silence. Days turned into more encounters. Accidental at first, then less so. They found reasons to talk, reasons to linger, reasons to exist in the same space just a little longer than necessary. And with every interaction, Paula felt herself slipping deeper into something she knew she couldn't control. She started fantasizing again, about what it would feel like to kiss him. To erase the years and pick up exactly where they had left off. To stop pretending that what they had was just a mistake. In her mind, it was never a mistake, it was the most real thing she had ever felt. But reality was far less forgiving. Tasio wasn't the same man she remembered. There was a distance in him now, a restraint that hadn't existed before. Sometimes, she caught him looking at her in that same old way, and it gave her hope. Dangerous hope. But just as quickly, he would pull back, like he was fighting something inside himself. One evening, everything changed. They were alone, too close, the air thick with everything neither of them had dared to say. Paula could feel it, that pull, that gravity that had always existed between them. And for a moment, she thought, maybe this time, he wouldn't stop it. Maybe this time, they would finally choose what they both wanted. She moved closer, slowly. Carefully, giving him every chance to step away. He didn't. Her heart pounded as her hand brushed against his. The same spark, the same electricity, it was all still there. And when she looked up at him, really looked at him, she saw it in his eyes too, the same feeling he had always tried to hide. So she leaned in, because this time, she didn't want to run. But just before their lips could meet, Tasio pulled back. Not gently, not hesitantly, firmly. Like he was cutting something off before it could even begin. The rejection hit her harder than she expected. It wasn't just the moment, it was everything behind it. Every memory, every feeling, every hope she had allowed herself to feel again. Don't, he said, his voice low but sharp enough to break her completely. She froze, confusion and pain crashing into each other. Why? She whispered, barely able to hold his gaze. And that's when he said the words that shattered her more than anything else ever could. Because this, whatever you think this is, it's not real anymore. Not real. After everything they had felt. After everything she had carried for years. Not real. It was like he had erased their entire history with a single sentence. Paula stepped back, her chest tightening as the weight of his words sank in. You don't mean that, she said, but even she could hear the uncertainty in her voice. Tasio looked away, jaw tense. I do. But he didn't. She could see it. In the way his hands clenched. In the way he avoided her eyes. In the way his voice betrayed something deeper than the words he was saying. He was lying. Not to her. To himself. And that's when Paula realized something even more painful than rejection. Tasio wasn't cutting her off because he didn't feel anything. He was cutting her off because he still did. And that terrified him. Because loving her had consequences. Consequences neither of them had escaped the first time. But for Paula, that wasn't enough anymore. She had spent years suppressing her feelings, doing the right thing, living with the regret of what could have been. And now that she had him in front of her again, now that she knew the truth, she couldn't go back to pretending. You're scared, she said, her voice steadier now. Tasio didn't respond. You're not over it, she continued. You're just afraid of what happens if you admit it. His silence confirmed everything. And for the first time, Paula felt something shift inside her. She wasn't the same girl who walked away years ago. This time, she wasn't going to let him decide everything. But love, especially forbidden love, doesn't follow simple rules. And the closer she got to the truth, the more dangerous it became. Because some stories aren't meant to have happy endings. And some feelings, no matter how strong, come at a cost too high to pay.